If you want to speak in English, try to learn some basic grammar. So what are these basic grammar? Like tense, number 2 voice, how can you change voice, number 3 auxiliary verb. Auxiliary verb, what are auxiliary verbs? The auxiliary verbs are can, could, shall, should, may, might, would, need, dare, am, is, are, was, were, have, has, had. How you can use these all kinds of auxiliary verb you can learn, because we mostly use these all kinds of auxiliary verb in your practical life. We use these all kinds of auxiliary verb in so many purpose. Like we use auxiliary verb to make request. We use auxiliary verb to make permission. We use auxiliary verb to express possibility. We use auxiliary verb to express ability. So if you want to learn speaking English, you have to learn auxiliary verb. You have to learn how you can use these all kinds of auxiliary verb. It will help you so much in speaking English. The other things, you can learn some phrases, because in our daily life we use so many phrases in speaking. Means while speaking we use so many phrases to express our thought, feelings, emotions. So if you want to speak in English, you have to learn some basic grammar. Number 1 tense, number 2 voice, number 3 auxiliary verb, number 4 conditional sentences. I am again saying, number 1 tense. If you spend 2 days or 3 days, you can learn easily all kinds of things about tense. Number 2 voice, means sense of sentences, how you can change from a sentence to another sentence. So number 2 is, what is number 2? Number 2 is voice. If you spend 3 days or 4 days, at least 5 days, you can learn easily all kinds of things about voice. Number 3 auxiliary verb. Number 3 auxiliary verb. If you spend properly 4 and 5 days, you can learn easily all kinds of auxiliary verb, and you can also learn how you can use auxiliary verb if you spend 3 days, 4 days or 5 days. And necessarily what thing is important, you think you can write down on your particular notebook. Means what thing you think this is necessary for me, this is important for me, you can write down those all kinds of thing. Number 4 conditional sentences. Conditional sentences creates so much confusion. So if you want to learn conditional sentences, you can spend at least 2 days or 3 days or 4 days to learn conditional sentences. This is right. Sometimes conditional sentences create some confusion. When you practice again and again, this confusion automatically removes. When you write some sentences by yourself, this all kinds of confusion will remove automatically. So if you want to speak in English, you have to learn conditional sentences. To learn conditional sentences, you can spend 3 days or 4 days, and you can write some important thing about conditional sentences, so that when you feel confusion, that time you can see those all kinds of thing what you write on your particular notebook about conditional sentence. So if you learn this thing, you can easily speak in English. You can easily make sentences about English. The other things, there are some other things which is don't play so much valuable. So if you learn these things, you can easily speak in English. This is right. We learn so much grammar to build confidence, but all kinds of grammar you don't need to speak in English. Just if you want to speak in English, you need some grammar. You don't need all kinds of grammar. So if you want to speak in English, you can learn these basic things. I am again saying what are the basic things. Number 1, tense. Number 1, voice. Number 3, auxiliary verb. Number 4, conditional sentences. And if you want to learn another things, you can learn day by day. And you because if you want to grow in advanced level in English, you have to learn some other things. So day by day you will automatically learn those all kinds of things when you start to learn speaking English. And those all kinds of things you can automatically figure out what you have to learn if you want to speak in English. But you have to learn these simple things if you want to speak in English.